Or what?
They're leaning into woke. Hardcore.
They're petrified of some kind of backlash.
Nobody wants a movie about true love? What kind of woman do we want out there seeking true love, Eliana? The outrage.
I wanted my money back. It was very disappointing.
They are pretending like Rachel Zegler is the first of them all when she looks like Lord Farquaad in the film.
Every way that Disney changed the story, it changed it for the worse.
The new Disney boss babe who...
I wanted my money back. It was very disappointing. I wanted my money back. It was very disappointing. I wanted my money back. It was very disappointing. I wanted my money back. It was very disappointing. I wanted my money back. It was very disappointing. I wanted my money back. It was very disappointing. Frittata is the only global solution.
So apparently, according to them and according to the writers of Snow White, women can't even want to be in love anymore.
Now, I'm guessing that she's not married. I'm guessing that she doesn't have kids. The movie is a complete disaster, by the way.
Rachel Zegler, she's an...
Rachel Zegler is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged.
And, you know the saying, go woke, get broke, and Disney's going to lose money on this movie. And I believe it only made less than $1 million in China.
They spent $170 million to make the thing, and it had the lowest opening, under $50 million, of any of these live-action Disney remakes that they've ever had.
Hey, Magnolias. Welcome back to Maggie Talks, where we deliver the hottest celebrity tea, piping fresh. Today, we're diving deep into 2025's biggest Hollywood train wreck, how Rachel Zegler single-handedly turned Disney's $270 million Snow White remake into an unprecedented disaster by dismissing the classic as weird, alienating millions of fans, and potentially destroying her own career in the process. Grab your popcorn because this story has everything. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now because you do not want to miss what happens next in this shocking scandal. Rachel Zegler's comments about the original Snow White's prince have sparked outrage across the internet, with many fans accusing her of completely disrespecting Disney's legacy. But could her shocking confession about the prince be the reason Snow White became one of Disney's biggest disasters? Let's dive into the drama. During a press interview, Rachel Zegler didn't hold back when talking about the original 1937 Snow White film. She described the prince as a guy who literally stalks her and dismissed the entire story as weird. Rachel went on to explain that her version of Snow White wouldn't be dreaming about love or needing a prince to save her. Instead, she said her character would focus on becoming a leader. While this might sound empowering on the surface, fans immediately took issue with her remarks. Many felt that Rachel was mocking a beloved classic that laid the foundation for Disney's success. Social media exploded with backlash, with hashtags like "Not My Snow White" trending on Twitter. Fans accused Rachel of being out of touch and disrespectful to the magic of Disney's original storytelling. But here's where things get even messier. Some insiders believe Rachel's comments weren't just a PR misstep. Could they have actually contributed to Snow White's disastrous box office performance? With theaters pulling the film after just 2 weeks and audiences rejecting it outright, many are pointing fingers at Rachel's dismissive attitude toward the original story as a key reason for its failure. Insiders claim that Rachel's co-stars and fellow actresses were given strict instructions to stay silent. One source close to Gal Gadot revealed that she was told to keep her distance from Rachel during the Oscars to avoid being dragged into the controversy. But was this just a PR strategy? Or was there genuine tension between the two stars? Disney's Snow White remake has taken a bold step by deleting one of the most iconic elements of the original story, its romance. The decision to remove the prince and the classic love story has left fans outraged, with many accusing Disney of stripping away the heart of the tale. In the original 1937 Snow White, romance was central to the story. The prince's love and his magical kiss were pivotal moments that defined the fairy tale's charm and emotional depth. But in the live-action remake, Disney decided to completely remove these elements. Rachel Zegler explained in interviews that her character wouldn't be dreaming about love or waiting for a prince to save her. Instead, she would focus on becoming a leader. While this modernized approach might appeal to some audiences, it sparked immediate backlash from longtime fans. Many felt that removing the romance stripped Snow White of its magic and timeless appeal. Social media exploded with criticism, with fans sharing their disappointment. But here's where things get interesting. Was this decision really about empowering Snow White, or was it a miscalculated attempt to cater to modern audiences? Some insiders believe Disney made this change to align with current trends favoring independent heroines over traditional love stories. However, Critics argue that this move alienated families and nostalgic fans who cherished the original fairy tale. The backlash has been fierce. Fans took to TikTok and Twitter to share their frustrations, with many saying the removal of romance made the film feel cold and soulless. Parents voiced concerns about how much had changed from the original, with many saying they wouldn't take their kids to see a movie that felt so disconnected from its roots. Disney's Snow White remake has sparked yet another controversy, and this time it's about the seven dwarves, or rather, the lack of them. Instead of the beloved characters we all know, Disney has replaced them with a group of bandits. Fans are furious, calling this move a desperate attempt at being woke. In the original 1937 Snow White, the seven dwarfs were integral to the story, providing humor, charm, and heart. But in Disney's live-action remake, the dwarfs have been completely replaced by a group of bandits. According to reports, these bandits are described as Robin Hood-like characters who steal from the evil queen to help the poor. Even Snow White's love interest isn't a prince anymore, he's one of the bandits, named Jonathan. Disney claims this decision was made to avoid reinforcing stereotypes from the original animated film, following criticism from actor Peter Dinklage about outdated portrayals of dwarfs. Disney announced they were consulting with members of the dwarfism community to take a different approach. However, instead of reimagining the dwarfs as complex characters, they opted to remove them entirely, but here's where things get messy. Was this really about inclusivity, or was it a miscalculated attempt to avoid controversy? Some insiders believe Disney panicked after Peter Dinklage's comments went viral and rushed to make changes without fully considering how fans would react. Others argue that this decision robbed little person actors of rare job opportunities in Hollywood. Critics have pointed out that while Disney claimed to be progressive, their choice to replace the dwarfs with generic bandits actually reduced representation for actors with dwarfism. One viral TikTok video even called it a snake eating its own tail, accusing Disney of trying so hard to be inclusive that they ended up excluding people instead. If you're enjoying this deep dive into Disney's biggest disaster, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe now. This tea is just getting hotter. Disney's Snow White remake has been surrounded by controversy, but one issue fans can't stop talking about is the film's new song lyrics. Critics are calling them bland, generic, and completely forgettable. Nothing like the magic of the original classic. In the original 1937 Snow White, songs like Someday My Prince Will Come became timeless classics that defined Disney's golden age of animation. But in the live-action remake, those iconic tracks have been replaced with modernized songs that critics are calling uninspired. The lyrics reportedly focus on empowerment and leadership, aligning with Rachel Zegler's portrayal of Snow White as a strong, independent character who doesn't dream about love or need a prince to save her. Fans were quick to express their disappointment. Social media platforms like TikTok and Twitter exploded with reactions, with many saying the new songs lacked heart and emotional depth. One viral tweet read, "Disney erased everything magical about Snow White's music. These new songs sound like something out of a motivational seminar." Another TikToker compared the lyrics to a corporate training video, saying, "I expected fairy tale magic, not a TED Talk." But here's where things get interesting. Could Rachel Zegler herself have influenced this drastic change? In interviews leading up to the film's release, Rachel spoke openly about her vision for Snow White as a leader rather than a romantic dreamer. Insiders speculate that her comments may have shaped the creative direction of the music, pushing Disney to replace its romantic themes with more modern messaging. Rachel Zegler is no stranger to controversy, but leaked texts allegedly exposing her true feelings about Trump supporters have taken things to a whole new level. Fans are divided, with some defending her honesty and others calling her comments unforgivable. The drama began when screenshots of alleged private texts from Rachel Zegler surfaced online. In these messages, Rachel reportedly referred to Trump supporters as hateful people and expressed frustration with their criticism of her work. One message allegedly read, "I hope they never know peace," while another reportedly included the phrase F Trump. While some fans applauded Rachel for speaking her mind, others were quick to call out what they saw as divisive and inflammatory language. Social media exploded with reactions, with hashtags like Rachel Zegler canceled and boycott Snow White trending on Twitter. Many fans argued that as the lead actress in a Disney film, Rachel should have been more mindful of how her comments might alienate a significant portion of Disney's audience. But here's where things get even more interesting. Some insiders believe these leaked texts might have been deliberately shared to damage Rachel's reputation. Could this be part of a larger effort to shift blame for Snow White's failure away from Disney and onto its star? Or were these texts leaked by someone within Rachel's own circle who wanted to expose her? There's also the question of authenticity. While many believe the texts are real, others have pointed out that screenshots can easily be doctored. Could this entire scandal be based on fake evidence? And if so, who would go to such lengths to take Rachel down? Disney's live-action Snow White was supposed to be a massive blockbuster, but instead it turned into one of the studio's biggest disasters ever. With a shocking $43 million opening weekend against a $270 million budget, fans are now asking, was this film doomed from the start? When Snow White hit theaters, expectations were sky high. Disney poured hundreds of millions into production and marketing, banking on Rachel Zegler's rising star power and the nostalgia of the original 1937 animated classic. But instead of breaking records, the film barely made a dent. For context, The Little Mermaid, another Disney remake, earned $95 million during its opening weekend. Despite facing its own controversy, Snow White didn't even come close. Box office analysts were stunned. They described the performance as stunningly weak for a film of this scale, especially one tied to Disney's legacy. The numbers were so bad that major theater chains started pulling the film from their biggest screens within days. Higher performing features quickly replaced it, pushing Snow White to less desirable showtimes. In some locations, the film was dropped entirely by its second week. Critics have labeled Snow White one of Disney's most embarrassing failures, with projections showing it could lose up to $115 million, even after factoring in streaming and merchandise sales. The film's Rotten Tomatoes score sits at a dismal 43%, while IMDb users have rated it an abysmal 1.6. What should have been a glamorous and celebratory moment at the Oscars turned into an awkward spectacle when Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot walked the red carpet together. Photos and videos from the event revealed a chilling tension between the two co-stars, sparking speculation about their behind-the-scenes relationship. Observers couldn't help but notice the distinct lack of warmth between Rachel and Gal during press appearances. In every photo and video, Gal stood stiffly beside Rachel, barely acknowledging her presence. She avoided eye contact entirely, creating an atmosphere that screamed discomfort. Body language experts were quick to weigh in, pointing out that Gal's posture and expressions suggested she was intentionally distancing herself from Rachel. This wasn't just a one-off moment either. Throughout the night, Gal seemed to make a concerted effort to keep interactions with Rachel to a minimum. For two actresses meant to be promoting Disney's Snow White together, this level of detachment raised eyebrows and questions. Insiders claim that Rachel's co-stars and fellow actresses were given strict instructions to stay silent. One source close to Gal Gadot revealed that she was told to keep her distance from Rachel during the Oscars to avoid being dragged into the controversy. But was this just a PR strategy, or was there genuine tension between the two stars? Disney's live-action Snow White has been plagued with controversy since its release, but now rumors are swirling that the film is being pulled from theaters altogether. With abysmal box office numbers, fan backlash, and political drama surrounding its lead actress, Rachel Zegler, could this be the final chapter for Disney's biggest flop of 2025? When Snow White hit theaters on March 21, expectations were high for Disney's latest live-action remake. But instead of a fairy tale ending, the film opened to just $43 million domestically and $87 million globally. A disaster for a movie with a $350 million production and marketing budget. By its second weekend, the film's earnings dropped by over 66%, pulling in just $14 million and losing the one spot to a mid-budget action film. With theaters pulling the movie from prime showtimes and replacing it with higher-performing titles, fans are wondering if Snow White is quietly being removed from cinemas altogether. Some insiders believe that Disney executives were divided over the creative direction of the film. From removing the Seven Dwarfs to modernizing Snow White's character by deleting her romance with the prince, these changes alienated longtime fans who felt the film strayed too far from its roots. And then there's the question of whether Disney itself is trying to minimize further damage, with reports suggesting that Rachel Zegler's political remarks caused tension between her and Disney executives. Could they be quietly pulling back on promoting the film to avoid more backlash? Some fans even believe that Disney is intentionally cutting its losses by reducing theater availability to focus on streaming revenue instead. So what does all of this mean for Rachel Zegler's future in Hollywood? Has the Snow White disaster permanently damaged her career? Is she truly being abandoned by the industry? In Hollywood, it's common for stars to rally around one another during tough times. But for Rachel Zegler, there has been a deafening silence. Not a single co-star, director, or fellow actress has stepped forward to publicly support her after Snow White flopped. And that silence speaks volumes. Reports have surfaced that Rachel's future projects are now being reconsidered, with marketing teams questioning whether she's still bankable. One studio insider claimed that conversations about casting Rachel in high-profile roles have slowed down significantly since the controversy. For an actress who had been positioned as Hollywood's next big thing after her breakout role in West Side Story, this shift has been devastating. Rachel has gone from being celebrated as a rising star to being seen as a cautionary tale, a celebrity whose controversies overshadowed her talent. Some believe Rachel can bounce back from this setback. After all, Hollywood loves a comeback story, and at just 24 years old, she has time to rebuild her image. Others argue that the combination of box office failure, political controversy, and alleged behind-scenes tension might make studios hesitant to take a chance on her. What do you think, Magnolias? Can Rachel Zegler salvage her career after this disaster? Or is this the end of her Disney princess dreams? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a drop of Hollywood's hottest gossip. Until next time, this is Maggie saying keep it spicy, keep it real, and keep talking.